What inspired you to go raw, actually? It was how many years ago?
Yeah, so I went raw back in 1995, was my first full day back in 1995. And what happened to me was I almost lost my life when I was younger. So I had spinal meningitis and I was hospitalized. And when I was in the hospital, the doctor said they had no treatment for me. So even raw foods didn't get me out of that situation at that point. I can only say higher powers got me out of that situation. I mean, I will say that I prayed while I was in the hospital, and that, you know, I made commitments that if I was to get out of there, I would leave my life differently. I had a lot of time to think when I was just in a hospital bed, just sick and not being able to really move because they did a spinal tap. So I was like in massive pain from them sticking a needle into my spine and extracting fluid, which is total unnatural, you know, but I thought, like, probably one of the main things I remember that I thought of is, you know, like one of the things I always wanted when I was a kid was like, oh man, you gotta have like a lot of money. That means you're successful, right? And I had the realization at this point when I was in the hospital that's like, hey, even if I had $1 million, like I wanted to, like I guess most people probably desire a lot of money, like what would that $1 million buy me right now? Could I write a check, Mr. Doctor, $1 million, do not cash unless John walks out of here? I mean, millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, gazillionaires lose their lives every day, and you can't buy your way out of sickness. I mean, like Steve Jobs, I mean, he probably had so much money, but yet he lost his life, you know, due to illness. And it's so sad when that happens, because if somebody has so much money, they should really, you know, hire people to grow their own food, to make health the healthiest, you know, disease preventing, you know, longevity promoting foods, in my opinion. I mean, that's what I would do with all my money. And actually, I mean, I grow a garden. I spent a lot of money to put in a garden. I take care of my garden. I dedicate time to my garden. That's a whole nother topic. But, you know, health is truly our greatest wealth, not like all this money in the bank. And so when I was in the hospital, all I wanted was my health, because I was about to lose it. And then if you lose your health, guess what? You're incapacitated. You can't move. You can't do anything. You can't enjoy life, or you're not even here, which I think that would suck more. So luckily I got out of the hospital, and I had to figure out, like, I asked the doctors, like, you know, one of the things I want to teach you guys is to always ask a better question. So I asked the doctors, like, you know, why did this happen to me, right? And I asked them that so that I could figure out, like, why this happened to me, so that I could figure out what can I do so it doesn't happen again, right? Mm-hmm. So he said you had what's called complement immune deficiency, which caused you to get sick in the first place. And next time you might not be so lucky. You could get any disease, and then you could basically succumb because your immune system literally can't fight it off. I mean, that's in layman's terms. I'm sure it's more complex than that. And then I'm like, wow, man, I'm screwed. I have a weak immune system, and now I could get sick again. And this wasn't super surprise to me, because actually as a child I had allergies, eczema, and a dry skin condition, asthma, you know, and these are actually all considered quote unquote autoimmune issues. And so, you know, so even as a child, I guess I kind of knew this, but I wasn't like sick and almost losing my life until later. And I figured, man, and then so if the doctors don't know, like, in my opinion, they're going to blame it on something that they can't have any control of, like genes or something. So they said, you have bad genes. And so then I didn't necessarily want to believe what the doctors told me, and I had to figure out, like, why I got sick. So basically I learned what we know, but back in the 90s, we didn't really know about this, but now we do. It's actually the topic or study of epigenetics, which means your genes are influenced by your environment. One of your environmental factors is your diet. Another one could be your stress. Another one could be, you know, your sleep. You know, there's a lot of things going on in your, the toxic chemicals in your home, you know, the toilet paper that may have BPA that you're wiping your butt, or that has dioxins in it, you know, because it's been bleached. Like, so many different toxins out there, and that could all hurt your genes, which means they're not gonna be fully expressed, which means, in my case, I wouldn't have a strong immune system. So I had to go on a journey to figure out, like, how could I basically rebuild my immune system by minimizing all the toxins in my life, and more importantly, putting the best foods into me that's gonna give me the highest probability of chance of succeeding in life, being healthy without getting sick. So that was a whole nother story on how I, like, found basically juicing through the Juice Man on an infomercial. I started juicing, did colon cleansing, and then finally got into raw foods, which, you know, I believe eating a high nutrient diet, including copious amounts of fruits and vegetables that are high antioxidants and high phytochemical rich, because not all fruits and vegetables are created equal, is really the answer, right? If you want to get healthier and heal.
Awesome.